Welcome to another exciting video where we uncover the hidden treasures in the world of coin collecting. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing coins in American history, the 1965 United States quarter dollar. This is not just any quarter, it's a coin with a fascinating backstory, rare errors, and the potential to be worth an absolute fortune. In fact, some lucky collectors have found a 1965 quarter that sold for an unbelievable amount of money. So, what makes the 1965 quarter so special? What should you look for? And just how much could one of these rare coins be worth? Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you won't believe the price one of these coins reached in auction. The story behind the 1965 quarter. The year 1965 was a major turning point in U.S. coinage history. Before this, quarters were made of 90% silver, but due to a silver shortage and rising silver prices, the U.S. Mint made a huge decision. They stopped using silver in quarters altogether. This means that the 1965 quarter was the first to be made with a copper-nickel-clad composition, making it a historic piece of American currency. However, during this transition, some silver quarters were mistakenly struck in 1965, and those rare error coins are now worth huge sums of money. But even regular 1965 quarters can have hidden value, especially if they have rare mint errors or are in pristine condition. The unique features of the 1965 quarter. The 1965 Washington quarter features the classic design that had been in use since 1932, created by sculptor John Flanagan. Front side, obverse, a detailed portrait of George Washington facing left. The word Liberty is inscribed above his head. Below his chin, you'll see, "In God We Trust." The year 1965 is stamped at the bottom. Back side, reverse, a majestic bald eagle with its wings spread wide, holding arrows in its talons. Below the eagle, two olive branches represent peace. The phrase, "United States of America," is curved across the top. Just below it, you'll see, "E pluribus unum." The denomination, quarter dollar, is inscribed at the bottom. Unlike most quarters, the 1965 quarter has no mint mark because all coins from this year were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Rare 1965 quarter errors that can make you rich. The 1965 quarter is famous among collectors because some rare error coins exist, and they can be worth thousands, even tens of thousands, of dollars. Let's explore the most valuable errors that you should look for. 1. The rare 1965 silver quarter. One of the biggest mysteries of the 1965 quarter is that a small number of them were accidentally struck on 90% silver planchets instead of the new copper-nickel-clad planchets. These silver quarters were not supposed to exist, making them one of the rarest and most valuable error coins of the modern era. How can you tell if you have one? Try the sound test. Silver quarters have a distinct, high-pitched ring when tapped, unlike clad quarters, which sound dull. Another way to check is by weighing the coin. A regular clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams, while a silver quarter weighs 6.25 grams. If you find a 1965 silver quarter, congratulations, you could be looking at tens of thousands of dollars. 2. 1965 quarter with a double die obverse, DDO. A double die obverse, DDO, error occurs when the coin's design is stamped twice, creating a doubling effect on letters and numbers. Check Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1965, for signs of doubling. The more obvious the doubling, the higher the value of the coin. Some doubled die 1965 quarters have sold for thousands of dollars. 3. 1965 off-center strike quarter. An off-center strike happens when the coin is not properly aligned in the minting machine, causing part of the design to be missing. If your 1965 quarter is struck 10% to 50% off-center but still shows the date, it can be worth hundreds to thousands of dollars. 4. 1965 quarter with a missing clad layer. Some 1965 quarters were struck without their outer nickel layer, exposing the copper core underneath. These coins appear reddish or copper-toned on one or both sides. If you have one in good condition, it could be very valuable to collectors. 5. 1965 quarter struck on a wrong planchet. A wrong planchet error happens when a quarter is struck on a coin blank meant for another denomination. Some 1965 quarters were mistakenly struck on dime planchets, making them smaller and lighter than normal. If you find one of these unusual quarters, it could be worth thousands of dollars. How much is a 1965 quarter worth? The value of a 1965 quarter depends on its condition, rarity, and whether it has any errors. Regular circulated 1965 quarters, most are only worth face value, 25 cents, to a few dollars. High-grade 1965 quarters, MS-65 or higher, if your quarter is in uncirculated condition, it could be worth $50 to $500. Rare mint errors, DDO, off-center, missing clad, or wrong planchet. These error coins can fetch hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on their rarity. But now, for the most exciting part, the most valuable 1965 quarter ever sold. One of these rare 1965 Washington quarters was sold for an astonishing $63,000. Yes, you heard that right, $63,000 for a single quarter. Final thoughts: check your spare change. The 1965 Washington quarter is proof that valuable coins can still be found in everyday change. Whether it's a rare silver quarter, a double die error, or an off-center strike, these coins have the potential to be worth a fortune. So, before you spend your 1965 quarters, take a closer look. You might just be holding a small fortune in your hands. Today, we're talking about a coin that many people might overlook in their pocket change but could be worth a small fortune: the 1974 United States quarter dollar. Could you be holding one of these rare quarters without even realizing it? Stay with us as we uncover what makes the 1974 quarter special, how to spot valuable errors, and how much one of these coins could be worth in today's market. The history of the 1974 quarter. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, originally introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. It replaced the standing Liberty quarter and quickly became one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history. By the time the 1974 quarter was minted, the composition of U.S. coins had already changed significantly. Originally, quarters were made of 90% silver, but by 1965, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel clad composition due to rising silver prices. This meant that most quarters produced after this time were no longer made of silver, but some rare mistakes and varieties still make certain quarters extremely valuable. Where was the 1974 quarter minted? The 1974 quarter was minted in 3 different locations. Philadelphia, no mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of quarters, and these are the most common. However, some Philadelphia quarters with high grades or errors can be quite valuable. Denver, D mint mark, quarters with a small d below Washington's ponytail were minted in Denver. Some of these quarters have been found with rare errors, making them highly collectible. San Francisco, S mint mark, proof coins. The San Francisco Mint struck proof quarters in 1974, intended specifically for collectors. These coins have a mirror-like finish and sharp details. If you come across a 1974 S-proof quarter, especially in its original mint packaging, it could be worth significantly more than face value. Why is the 1974 quarter valuable? You might be wondering, what makes a 1974 quarter worth more than 25 cents? The answer lies in a few key factors: condition, minting errors, and rare varieties. Point 1. High-grade quarters, mint state coins. Most quarters from 1974 have been in circulation for decades, making pristine examples extremely rare. Coins that are graded MS-65 or higher, meaning they are in mint condition with no wear, can sell for impressive amounts at auctions. If your 1974 quarter still has its original shine, sharp details, and no scratches, it could be a high-grade coin worth much more than face value. Point 2. Rare minting errors that increase value. Some 1974 quarters have errors that make them highly collectible. Here are a few of the most sought-after errors. Double die obverse, DDO. This error occurs when the design on the front of the coin is struck twice, causing a slight doubling effect. Look for doubling in the words Liberty or In God We Trust. Off-center strike. If the coin was not struck perfectly centered, part of the design may be missing or misaligned. The more off-center the strike, the rarer the coin. Clipped planchet. Sometimes, a small part of the coin's edge is missing due to a minting mistake. These error coins are rare and collectible. Transitional metal error. While most 1974 quarters were made of copper-nickel, a few were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from earlier years. If you have a 1974 quarter that looks silvery and weighs around 6.25 grams instead of 5.67 grams, you could be holding an ultra-rare transitional error coin. How to check if your 1974 quarter is valuable. If you think you might have a valuable 1974 quarter, follow these steps to check its worth. 1. Look for the mint mark. If you have a 1974 San Francisco proof quarter, S mint mark, in perfect condition, it could be valuable. 2. Examine the condition. Coins in uncirculated condition or proof coins in their original cases are worth more. 3. Search for errors. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling, off-center strikes, or missing letters on the coin. 4. Weigh the coin. A standard 1974 quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If yours weighs more, it could be a silver error coin. Record-breaking auction prices. Some 1974 quarters with rare errors or high grades have sold for jaw-dropping amounts at auctions. Collectors and investors are always on the lookout for these special coins, and if you happen to find one in your collection, you could be in for a big payday. Final word. So, before you spend that 1974 quarter, take a moment to check its mint mark, condition, and weight, because you just might have a hidden treasure in your hands. Some of these rare quarters have been known to sell for $73,000 at auction. We're diving into one such coin that may look ordinary at first glance but could actually be worth a fortune, the 1972 United States quarter dollar. You may have handled hundreds of these coins throughout your life without ever realizing that some rare versions of the 1972 quarter are highly sought after by collectors and can sell for staggering amounts. So, how do you know if you have one of these valuable quarters? What key details should you be looking for? And just how much can one of these coins be worth? Stick around because we're going to reveal an astonishing amount that a rare 1972 quarter has sold for. The 1972 quarter, a piece of history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It quickly became one of the most recognizable and widely used coins in American history. While the first Washington quarters were made of 90% silver, that changed in 1965, when the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition due to rising silver prices. By 1972, all circulating quarters were made of copper-nickel, but not all of them are created equal. Some 1972 quarters are worth much more than just 25 cents, thanks to rare minting errors, high-grade conditions, and special varieties. Where were 1972 quarters minted? The 1972 quarter was struck at 3 different U.S. Mint locations: Philadelphia Mint, No Mint Mark; Denver Mint, D Mint Mark; San Francisco Mint, S Mint Mark. Proof coins only. Each of these mints produced millions of quarters, but it's the rare varieties, errors, and high-quality specimens that make certain 1972 quarters extremely valuable today. What makes a 1972 quarter valuable? Not every 1972 quarter is worth big money, but some have unique characteristics that make them stand out from the rest. Here's what collectors are looking for. 1. Rare silver 1972 quarters. Even though the U.S. Mint had stopped making silver quarters by 1965, some rare 1972 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets. These rare error coins are highly sought after by collectors because they should not exist. If you suspect you have a silver 1972 quarter, here's how you can check. Weigh the coin. A regular clad 1972 quarter weighs 5.67 grams, while a silver quarter weighs 6.25 grams. Check the edge. A normal clad quarter has a copper-colored stripe on the edge, while a silver quarter has a solid silver edge. Sound test. When dropped on a hard surface, a silver quarter will have a distinct, higher-pitched ring. Compared to a clad quarter, finding a silver error 1972 quarter is like hitting the jackpot. 2. Minting errors that make the 1972 quarter valuable. Some of the most valuable 1972 quarters have rare minting mistakes. These errors happened during production and make the coin unique, increasing its value to collectors. Here are some of the most desirable errors. Double die obverse, DDO. This error happens when the design is struck twice, causing noticeable doubling on words like liberty and in God we trust. Off-center strikes. if the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting, it may have a misaligned or missing portion of the design, making it highly collectible. Missing clad layer. Some 1972 quarters were struck without their outer nickel layer, exposing the copper core underneath. These errors are rare and valuable. Wrong planchet errors. Some 1972 quarters were accidentally struck on dime or nickel planchets, making them smaller and lighter than usual. These are rare finds that sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. 3. High-grade 1972 quarters are worth more. Most quarters from 1972 have been circulating for over 50 years, meaning they show wear and tear. However, if you find a 1972 quarter in mint state, MS, condition, it could be worth a significant amount of money. Coin grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, assign grades from MS-60 to MS-70, with MS-70 being a flawless coin. For example, a 1972 quarter graded MS-67 or higher is extremely rare and can fetch thousands of dollars at auction. Even lower mint state grades can be valuable if the coin is well preserved. How to check if you have a rare 1972 quarter? Want to see if your 1972 quarter is valuable? Follow these simple steps. 1. Look for the mint mark. Philadelphia quarters have no mint mark, Denver quarters have AD, and San Francisco proof quarters have an S.2. Weigh the coin. A silver quarter should weigh 6.25 grams, while a normal clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams. 3. Inspect for doubling. Use a magnifying glass to check for double lettering in Liberty or In God We Trust. 4. Examine the edge. A quarter with a solid silver edge might be a rare error coin. 5. Look for off-center strikes. If the design is noticeably off-center, it could be worth big money. Real-life auction records and value. Some rare 1972 quarters have sold for thousands of dollars at auctions. Collectors are always searching for high-grade, rare error, and silver planchet quarters, driving up the prices for these hidden treasures. Imagine finding a 1972 quarter in your loose change that turns out to be worth a life-changing amount. These discoveries have happened before, and they could happen to you. Final thoughts before you spend that 1972 quarter. Take a closer look. It might be worth much more than just 25 cents. Some rare versions have sold for an unbelievable $55,000 at auction. Diving deep into one such coin, the 1974 United States quarter dollar. If you've ever wondered whether that old quarter in your pocket change might be valuable, you'll want to stick around until the end because we're revealing just how much a rare 1974 quarter has sold for. The Washington quarter, first introduced in 1932, has been a staple of American currency for nearly a century. While most of these coins are only worth their face value of 25 cents, certain rare versions, minting errors, and high-grade specimens can sell for thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. The history of the 1974 quarter. By 1974, the U.S. Mint had already transitioned from silver quarters to clad quarters. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver, but due to rising silver prices, the government switched to a copper-nickel composition to keep production costs down. While the 1974 quarter might not contain silver, some rare error coins and high-grade specimens can still command astonishing prices in the collector's market. Where were 1974 quarters minted? The 1974 quarter was produced at 3 different U.S. Mint locations: Philadelphia Mint, No Mint Mark; Denver Mint, D Mint Mark; San Francisco Mint, S Mint Mark, proof coins only. Each of these mints struck millions of quarters, but not all of them are equal in value. Some have rare errors, while others have been preserved in pristine condition, making them incredibly valuable today. What makes a 1974 quarter valuable? Not every 1974 quarter is valuable, but certain factors can dramatically increase its worth. Here's what collectors are looking for. 1. Rare minting errors that increase value. Some of the most valuable 1974 quarters are those with minting mistakes that make them unique. These errors happen when something goes wrong during the coin's production, creating one-of-a-kind varieties that collectors will pay big money for. Double die obverse, DDO. This rare error occurs when the coin's design is struck twice, causing noticeable doubling on words like liberty and in God we trust. Collectors love these errors because they make the coin stand out from normal quarters. Off-center strikes. If the quarter was not properly aligned during minting, the design may appear off-center, with a portion of the coin missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. Missing clad layer. Some 1974 quarters were struck without their outer nickel layer, exposing the copper core underneath. These rare error coins have a distinct reddish appearance and can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Wrong planchet errors. Some 1974 quarters were mistakenly struck on dime or nickel planchets, making them smaller and lighter than normal. If you find a smaller than usual quarter, it could be an incredibly valuable error coin, too. High-grade 1974 quarters are worth more. Most 1974 quarters have been in circulation for nearly 50 years, which means they show signs of wear and tear. However, if you find a 1974 quarter in mint state condition, it could be worth far more than face value. Coin grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, assign grades from MS-60 to MS-70. With MS-70 being a perfect, flawless coin. For example, a 1974 quarter graded MS-67 or higher is incredibly rare and can fetch thousands of dollars at auction. Even lower mint state grades, like MS-65 or MS-66, are still highly collectible and worth far more than just a quarter. How to check if you have a rare 1974 quarter? Want to see if your 1974 quarter is valuable? Follow these simple steps. 1. Check for a mint mark. Philadelphia quarters have no mint mark, Denver quarters have AD, and San Francisco proof quarters have an S.2. Look for doubling. Use a magnifying glass to check for double lettering in Liberty or In God We Trust. If you spot doubling, you may have a double die obverse error. 3. Examine the coin's edge. A normal clad quarter has a copper-colored stripe along the edge. If your quarter has a solid silver edge, it could be a rare error coin. 4. Check for off-center strikes. If part of the design is missing or misaligned, you may have a valuable minting error. 5. Weigh the coin. A standard 1974 quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If yours weighs significantly more or less, it could be a wrong planchet error. Real-life auction records and value. Some 1974 quarters have sold for incredible amounts at auction. Collectors are always on the hunt for high-grade, rare error, and unique specimens, which can drive up prices significantly. Imagine finding a 1974 quarter in your pocket change that turns out to be worth thousands of dollars. It has happened before, and it could happen to you. Final thoughts before you spend that 1974 quarter. Take a closer look. It might be worth far more than just 25 cents. Some rare versions have sold for an unbelievable $33,000 at auction. We're going to explore one such coin, the United States of America quarter dollar from 1979. If you've ever wondered whether that old quarter in your change jar could be valuable, you're in for a surprise. Stick around until the end because we're revealing just how much a rare 1979 quarter dollar has sold for, and trust me, the number will leave you amazed. A brief history of the 1979 quarter. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, originally minted to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. However, by the time the 1979 quarter was struck, the U.S. Mint had long transitioned from 90% silver quarters to clad copper-nickel quarters. This change was made in 1965 due to the rising cost of silver, but even though these later quarters lack silver, some error coins and rare high-grade specimens have turned out to be worth incredible amounts of money. The 1979 quarter was minted in 3 different locations: Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; Denver Mint, D mint mark; San Francisco Mint, S mint mark. Proof coins only. Each of these mints produced millions of quarters, but only a few special coins have become highly sought after by collectors. What makes a 1979 quarter valuable? Not every 1979 quarter is worth more than face value, but certain rare errors, minting mistakes, and high-grade examples can command a premium price in the collector's market. Here's what to look for. 1. Rare minting errors that increase value. Some of the most valuable 1979 quarters are those that contain minting errors, making them unique. These mistakes occur when the coin is struck improperly, leading to rare varieties that collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars for. Double die obverse, DDO. This error occurs when the design is accidentally struck twice, causing a slight doubling effect on details like Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the date. These quarters are rare and can sell for impressive amounts. Off-center strikes. If the quarter wasn't aligned correctly when struck, the design may appear off-center. The more misaligned the design, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date is still visible. Clipped planchet. This happens when part of the metal blank is missing before the coin is struck, leading to a noticeable, clipped area on the edge of the quarter. These errors are quite rare. Missing clad layer. Some 1979 quarters were struck without their nickel outer layer, exposing the copper core underneath. These coins have a distinct reddish tint and are highly collectible. Wrong planchet errors. Occasionally, a quarter is mistakenly struck on a dime or nickel planchet, making it smaller and lighter than usual. If you find a 1979 quarter that looks unusually small, it could be an extremely valuable error coin. 2. High-grade 1979 quarters are worth more. Most 1979 quarters have been in circulation for over 4 decades, meaning they show significant wear and tear. However, if you find a 1979 quarter in pristine mint state condition, it could be worth far more than just 25 cents. Coin grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, assign grades from MS-60 to MS-70, with MS-70 being a perfect coin with no flaws. For example, a 1979 quarter graded MS-67 or higher is considered extremely rare and can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. Even a lower mint state grade, such as MS-65 or MS-66, can still command a significant price. How to check if you have a rare 1979 quarter? Do you have a valuable 1979 quarter? Here's how you can check. 1. Examine the mint mark. Quarters from Philadelphia have no mint mark, while Denver quarters have a D and San Francisco proof quarters have an S.2. Look for doubling. Using a magnifying glass, check if any of the letters or numbers have a slight doubling effect. If so, you may have a double die obverse error. 3. Check for off-center strikes. If part of the design is missing or misaligned, your coin may be a rare error. 4. Inspect the coin's edge. A normal 1979 quarter has a copper-colored stripe along the edge. If your coin has a solid silver edge, it could be a valuable error coin. 5. Weigh your quarter. A standard 1979 quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If yours weighs significantly more or less, it could be a wrong planchet error. Real-life auction record. Some 1979 quarters have sold for jaw-dropping amounts at auction. Collectors are constantly searching for high-grade, rare error, and unique varieties, which can drive prices sky-high. Imagine finding a rare 1979 quarter in your pocket change and selling it for thousands of dollars. It has happened before, and it could happen to you. Final thoughts before you spend that 1979 quarter. Take a closer look. It might be worth far more than just 25 cents. Some rare versions have sold for an incredible $88,000 at auction. If you love learning about rare and valuable coins, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our next exciting coin discovery. Have you ever found a rare coin in your collection? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.